That's worth the invitation to come to the show.
Well, Mr. President, you had previously said that you thought that you would have won. Since then, Donald Trump won all the battleground states and made inroads with almost every major demographic, from working class voters to Hispanic men to black men. Knowing what you know now, do you think you would have beat him?
Yeah, he still got 7 million fewer votes.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of people didn't show up. Number one. Number two, they're very close in those toss-up states. It was it wasn't a slam dunk, and so look, every time I've been on the show, which I've been fortunate to be on more than once. Thanks for having me. Is that we talk? You guys don't focus on as much, and I think it's good on polling numbers. But let me put it this way: he's had the worst 100 days any president's ever had.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I would not say honesty's been a strong point. The projects, the benefits. How do you lead the world without having the best infrastructure in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best healthcare in the world? How do you lead the world without having the best education system in the world? How do you lead the world when you don't have that done?
How do you put that old bastard in front of a group of people to scrutinize again? Why? This is elder abuse. Welcome to Truth with J.J. Carroll. I swear to you, look, I have no love lost for him. He was an arrogant piece of trash his whole life. If you go back and you look at the old footage of Joe Biden as a young senator, middle-aged senator, an old senator, and even as vice president, he was arrogant. He was demeaning. He was a racist. He was just a liar. So as he's getting into old age and dying from dementia, I don't give him any, oh, I'm so sorry, the poor old man. No, that bastard has a lot to answer for when he goes in front of God, a lot to answer for. We all do, but he in particular has a lot to answer for, a lot. They bring him in front of the nation again, and he's a bumbling old man. He has no idea what he's talking about. His wife has to take over. So that bears the question. Who was running our country for 4 years? And don't act like this narrative that somehow it got worse over time. And it really wasn't that bad until the end, probably the last 6 months. Are you kidding me? Let's go back and look at the way he spoke at the very beginning. He was gone. He was gone. He would show up from about 9 to 11 in the morning, and then we would never see him again. Somebody or a group of people were running our country. That's why they used the auto pen. Donald Trump needs to do a full-blown, Pam Bondi needs to do a full-blown investigation to when the auto pen began to be used and at what time and who had charge of it, and go all the way back and then say this was unconstitutional. Everything that was done gets wiped clean. It's no good. It's null and void. He wasn't running our country. There's no way that old man was running our country. He has no idea where he's at. None. You look at the way he speaks right there, halting, confused, trying to, and this is his trigger to remember things. 1, 2, 3. And now he can't even get past 1. He's like, okay, and the first thing is, and he mumbles, and then this, okay, I don't have any time. Okay, and looks at his wife, and his wife takes over. And then he does what a lot of old people in dementia do. They begin to yell. And he's slurring his words. He's yelling and slurring his words. And all of those dumb broads on The View, those repulsive individuals, just sit there and like in bated breath, please just let him get through. And I'll applaud like a stupid seal and a clown, and then we'll get through it. Who was running our country? And no one has the courage to really say it out loud. That our country was run by a group of unelected, anti-American traitors. How do you think Joe Biden let 30 million people into America? Do you think, honestly, do you think Joe Biden in his right mind, as politically savvy as he was to get through 40 years of that jungle, do you think that he would have made that conscious decision to allow 30 million people in, knowing that it would cripple him? There's no way he would have done that. I'm not saying he loves America and wants American sovereignty. No, no, no. I'm saying that he knows, or he knew when he was cognitively aware, that by doing that would be a destruction of his legacy. He'll never get reelected. He would never agree to this. Only a demented old fool that has no idea, that goes to bed at around 1 in the afternoon with his pudding, would allow this to happen. Who is running our country after 11 a.m. every single day? Look at the comparison between him and Donald Trump. Donald Trump has already given probably 3 interviews by 11 a.m., signed several executive orders, has already talked to multiple political leaders across the globe, making massive deals and signing bills, creating trade agreements, all by 11, way past 11. And then he's giving impromptu speeches and interviews all the way through the day into the night. And the Democrats want us to believe that this old bag of skin was in charge. Here's someone speaking about, on Laura Ingraham last night, about, and asked the very important question: who is running our government? Stop looking at the dull object of Joe Biden, the stupidity of this man, the absurdity that he actually was in charge, and let's ask the question: who is running our country? Go ahead and play that, Caleb.
But I do think it's an attempt to whitewash history. I mean, I think the real story of collusion in recent times in D.C. was obviously not Russian. It was the collusion between the Biden White House and the corporate propagandists in the Democratic Party to hide and to lie about Biden's mental decline. And of course, that June 2024 debate completely blew up that conspiracy of silence. But I think they're trying to whitewash history, because if we really have a conversation about it, I think it's one of the greatest political scandals we've seen in our history. And also, I think it constitutionally was suspect, because based off what we saw, it wasn't Biden running this White House. It was clearly unelecteds running that White House and operating that auto pen. And so they've got to whitewash that what took place, instead of us having a real conversation about the reality of what was happening.
He says it perfectly. It's a very reasonable question. Who is running our government? Who is making those outrageous anti-American decisions that punished America? They punished us. 50 million illegal aliens are in America now. 30 million were under Joe Biden. 30 million. Even if we just go by their data, what they openly admit, 18 million. 18 million, 18 to 20 million in 4 years. 4 to 5 million people came into America every single year from over 180 different nations, completely illiterate in their own language, meaning they don't even worry about English, reading and writing English. No, they can't even read or write in their own language, whatever the hell language that was, and whatever the hell dialect. So when you look at 180 nations, that's 180 languages. Then you could spin it up by 2, and then you have dialects. People say, what do you mean? Well, let me give you an example. When I would arrest Mexican nationals, which was the vast majority of everyone we arrested, was maybe 1% exotics like Koreans, Russian, someone from the stands. But mainly it was 95% Mexican. Then you had all the Central Americans, the Guatemalans, the Hondurans, the El Salvadorians, Brazil, throw Brazil in there, and maybe a South American country, and then some exotic crazy that would pop up. But it was mainly Mexicans. Well, Mexicans, they're Native Americans. So they have multiple dialects, multiple languages. You had no idea. You would look at them and you would try to think, okay, well, they're Mexican, let's try to speak Spanish. No, they didn't know what I was talking. saying that, and I had no idea what they were saying. So you take a nation, and you might have 2, 3, 4 different dialects. So you have 180 nations. You can't understand the total destruction of the American society, our cultural norms, the way that we do things, how our money is spread out where it should be for Americans, the destruction of our way of life because Joe Biden's administration allowed in 30 million people. It's unbelievable. You really can't calculate it. We tried to put a number on the cost. In 4 years, it was estimated to be a little at or above $1 trillion. And I say that with an asterisk by it because I don't truly believe there's a way to honestly capture the total amount of wasted time, money, resources. I don't think you can put a number on it. I really, really don't, because it's so invasive in every form of our life in America by illegal aliens. I mean, how do you put a cost on Joshua Nungary, 12-year-old, raped for 2 hours by 2 savages from Venezuela and then thrown in a ditch? How do you put a cost on Miss Moran from Maryland that was raped, brutally raped by a savage from El Salvador, I believe it is? Beat her to the point where all the blood was pouring out of her head all over the culvert while the guy raped her again. And then threw her body 150 feet down into like a ditch to let her body begin to decompose. She had 5 children. 5 children. How do you put a dollar amount on that? How do you put a dollar amount on 5 children that are growing up without a mother, that have now lived through extreme trauma? And how do you put a monetary value on that? A negative value? I don't know how you do that. We're just talking about straight up costs: healthcare, education, welfare, crime, criminal incarceration. You can put pretty much around a solid number on that and get within 20-25% either way, right? But you can't put dollar amounts on that. Up to 40 Americans die every day at the hands of illegal aliens. I can't even imagine the real number of rapes and assaults and abuses, child trafficking, child rape every single day that's happened in America. 50 million people. 50 million illegal aliens in our country. We talked about this yesterday. We talked about the new Surgeon General, Casey Means, and that is now blowing up like crazy. But Casey Means, and we're talking about RFK Jr., and we're talking about our immune system and how it has been attacked by the food industry, pharmaceuticals. We have plastics in our food, in our water, and in the air. How do we combat that? One way we combat that is Pet Club 24/7. What is Pet Club 24/7? It is a company that took a mushroom at the highest level, highest grade in Japan, condensed it into a powder form in a capsule for us to be able to digest as humans. There's skin balms that literally put lotion on you and your skin absorbs it. Pet food and pet treats. My little dog Cinnamon gets the pet treats. And it helps with your immune system and your gut, and it fights and gets rid of all of that garbage that our government has blessed and allowed into our foods and into our waters. We're being attacked on so many levels in America. I mean, it's a full-on sensory overload attack on every level. and our government allowed it to happen. And people like Bernie Sanders and AOC and Mitch McConnell and all these people, they're millionaires, 10, 20, 100 times over, all the expense of us. Go to petclub247.com or truthwithjj247.com. I think, Caleb, we have a short commercial. We can play that. That'd be great.
There's nothing we wouldn't do for our pets. They're like our children. Our friends at Pet Club 24/7 have developed natural products that contain the most potent strain of a mushroom that's been used for thousands of years to help support the immune system. So visit their website today to discover how they're changing the way that pets and their parents are being treated for the better.
Truthwithjj247.com, truthwithjj247.com, Pet Club 24/7. I love their owners, Kurt and Kristen, great Christian run company. Incredible people, incredible product as well. I take it. We had huge news as a Catholic, and I think as a Christian in America. This is big, big news. And that's the new Pope, Pope Leo. And he is the first American Pope from Chicago. Now, I'm going to tell you, I had no high hopes, no expectation that someone that thinks like me, thinks like a MAGA Donald Trump kind of figure was going to come in and be voted in and then come in and make massive changes into a rotten to the core institution called the Catholic Church. But I did pray for it. But I knew that 109 of the 135 cardinals that were voting on the new pope were handpicked by Francis. So why would a supermajority of Francis loyalists pick someone that would be 180 degrees ideologically opposed to them and their liberal stance? That's absurd thinking. So we got this man, Pope Leo from Chicago, first American Pope. And I want to give him, I told myself, let's give him some grace. Let's see how he comes out and how he begins to run the Catholic Church. I couldn't get 10 minutes into that. I'm going to give him grace, and I start to see everything start to spill out. And X has changed it. Podcasting has changed it. Platforms like this have changed the way information. Before, they could hide it. They could hide all of his old tweets, all of the things that he used to say, no, not anymore. Everything is up and front and center, and here it is. And people that are good investigative journalists that do digging into these type of things are all coming out and saying, no, this is Pope Francis all over again. And it's interesting, when I started to do my research yesterday, just because I wanted, not just for my show, but for me spiritually, I wanted to know who this guy is. And I start going through and picking articles, and I go, there's AP pops up, and a Catholic Journal and Reuters and something else, and I'm reading it, and it's like softcore. It's just all soft. The Pope said this, but it was not really. They kind of soft pedal it and they kind of whitewash it, and then you go into the new media, the X accounts like Laura Loomer or Alex Jones, or just people that are doing investigative journalism outside of the constraints of the liberal media. And it's like you're reading, like, am I reading the same guy? Is this the same guy? Yeah, unfortunately. Unfortunately. This is a gentleman by the name of Leo Zagami, Zagami, and he is a Vatican insider, and he was on Alex Jones yesterday. Can you play this, Caleb, and go ahead and just stop it right about the minute 55 mark?
rather than choosing somebody from Asia or from Africa, they wanted to actually insidiously nominate and elevate to the pontificate somebody who is American. It's the first time in history. But Robert Francis Prevost is no friend of Donald J. Trump. He is, of course, somebody who comes from Chicago, but also with a vast history in South America that connects him to the infamous Jesuit order. And he is from an order himself, the Augustinians, who have worked hand in hand with the Jesuits on the control of the educational establishment. Today, if you think about the main issues Trump is trying to fight, immigration policies, well, in this regard, he will have to fight against this Pope because he's very much a supporter of what the Democrats were doing, open borders and all the rest. It's gonna be a war against Trump waged by the church every day, in which we will hear, of course, from this Pope, what you might hear from the Democratic Party, which has demonstrated in the last few years to be the political branch of the Vatican Jesuit-led New World Order here in the United States. So it's not a good day. Some Americans might perceive it as a good day. For those who were hoping in a traditional Pope, in somebody who will support also a return to the Latin Mass, this will be, of course, a disappointment because this Pope has no intention in going back, but rather in moving forward.
Is he Francis light, or is he as bad as Francis?
He's worse than.
He is worse than Francis. That's that gentleman's take, the Vatican insider. He is worse than Francis. And you know, I began to think when I saw this come out, and it just shows you how wicked the world is now, that instead of saying, oh man, they got an American Pope, that's amazing, the first thought is, why did they pick American Pope? Because, and immediately I thought, well, they want to fight from within. They don't want to fight from outside against the new American nationalism. They want to fight from within to have a stronger foothold in American politics, American culture, and begin to make the change inside America. How do you make change in a nation? Do you make it from the outside? No. You make it from the inside, just like USAID has done through the CIA. You go in, you create cultural and societal chaos through LGBTQ, all of open borders, mass migration. That's how you change a country. So now you bring in a Pope that is full on open borders. Migrants are great things, and Jesus Christ was a migrant, and all that bullcrap lies. And then you bring them inside, and that Pope will have a massive influence inside America. But I think as a Catholic, I'm going to say this just as a Catholic, if Pope Leo comes out and begins to contradict Donald Trump and try to make a power play and have open borders, I think that you will see the Catholic Church begin to disintegrate. It'll disintegrate in America. People will leave in droves. They will leave in droves because they're not going to want to hear your drivel. They don't want to hear about open borders and walls are bad and build bridges when you have a 40-foot wall encircling you, where you've been having cocaine and drug-filled gay orgies inside the Vatican, proven. You have a massive pedophile problem within the Vatican that leads out to America and the rest of the world. You have a massive homosexual problem within the ranks of the Catholic Church that has already been exposed and everyone knows it. We have massive problems in the Catholic faith. And I believe, and I pray that I'm wrong, Pope Leo could just be that guy they needed to get into America and to make change, because I'm going to go all full circle here and say that in order for the global reset to happen, and don't think they've given up on this, in order to have the global reset happen, They have to destroy the United States of America. The United States of America cannot be the economic superpower. It just can't. Bring America to her knees, change the economic system in the globe, and then it becomes a free-for-all and a restructuring, a realignment of power in the world. And we need to be on the lookout for this. I think this is either going to be a massive turning point in the Catholic Church, meaning we are going to change our ways, which I do not believe we will, or we will continue to hurtle down this path where the faithful Catholics begin to turn their backs on the Pope and the cardinals and the bishops, which has already started today. Whenever I hear our bishop is going to come to church, or the bishop says this and I need to read this letter from the bishop, I just tune it out. I don't want to hear from a Democrat. I don't give a crap what his theological leanings are. You've already lost me. You vote Democrat. That's blasphemy. You're a man of God. And you vote for a party that booed God 3 times in 2008. You vote for a party that mutilates children. You vote for a party that is full-on abortion outside the vaginal canal. How do you rectify that, Bishop so-and-so? And the answer is they can't. It's all about money. We've seen that. We've proven it. We've talked about it. I've written a book about it. I did a documentary. The Catholic charities, the Catholic Church, has taken money from the federal government in the tune of over $5 billion conservatively since 2009. The same time, 2009 to present day, they have paid over $5 billion, equal amount they've taken in, they have shelled out to all the sexual abuse victims. Coincidence? I don't think so. I really don't. We shall see. I started to talk about this yesterday. This Treasury Secretary Bissett and him having to sit in front of the Congress and have to take questions from people that are so grossly intellectually inferior to him that there's not much shocks me, but when you listen to these people, it's shocking. It's shocking that how did they get in a position to have power over us? They're so grossly stupid and so partisan and so corrupt. But all of that, I can almost deal with, right? I can almost deal with you're stupid, right? You're stupid. You can't speak English. You're corrupt even. It's like I can almost somehow handle it. It's when you throw this last characteristic of the left and the right that do this. The dumbest people in the world, the last characteristic that falls on top of it, which is just, it blows it up for me, is their arrogance. Gosh almighty, they are so arrogant. They're so absolutely arrogant and so grossly ignorant and stupid, they actually believe everything that they say. And I have to play this. I have like 5 videos I want to play, because it really drives home not only how stupid these people are, but these are the people that are running our lives. And don't think, well, a congressman in Tennessee doesn't have any bearing on my life. Congressmen from New York or California, no, they absolutely do. They're voting on the destruction of America. How do you think they voted on giving NGOs hundreds of billions of dollars? Well, they did it. The congressman from New York, the congressman in California, the same congresswoman in Alabama and Tennessee, they all voted because the Republicans voted as well as the Democrats. They voted to destroy our nation. Let's go ahead and play this first one. It's this is Velasquez. She can barely speak English, and I want you to look at her face when she's speaking. She has no idea what she's talking about. She's so grossly stupid, she has no idea. I don't even think she knows where she's at. Listen to this exchange.
for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I want to raise a point of order,
Yes, ma'am.
but I don't want the clock to be eating my time.
I'm sorry. Yes,
I would like for the witness to be sworn in before I ask my questions.
the chair doesn't see a need for that. You may ask your question. Your time can start the gentlewoman's time over at 5 minutes.
Secretary Besant, you were on CNBC earlier this week making claims saying we are very close and maybe we will see some deals this week on tariffs. So tell us, tell the American people, tell small businesses and consumers, tell retirees, specifically which countries are you close to striking deals with?
I'm sorry, Congresswoman, but that would not benefit the United States.
No. I'm asking you a question based on the statement that you made on CNBC.
And I am telling you that it would be detrimental to the interest of the United States for me to answer that question.
Why will that be detrimental?
Because as the negotiations may still be in process as we speak, as we are not at the end of the week yet, I am sure that you, through your question, would not want to compromise U.S. negotiations.
Reclaiming my time,
Would you?
Secretary Besant, the president goes into a press conference and claims that there are negotiations going on. And then the next day, there's no negotiations going on. So why would you not answer my question? And that will be considered detrimental to.
I actually have to take a break from listening to these people. I mean, that was 2 minutes of drivel, to listening to her. Could you imagine having to sit for a 30-minute conversation with that person, trying to convince them about trade deals and trying to explain them at a sophomoric level so that she can try to understand? When she has that look on her face of, well, I'm way out of my league here. Unbelievable. So I'm going to take a break and we'll come back to this because I have a guest that I have waiting, and that is Chris from sat123.com. Chris, welcome back to the show. How you doing this week?
I'm doing good, JJ. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready. How is it in Colorado? Is it warm, cold? What's going on?
It's sunny and very summery, and no palm trees, but we got the rest of it.
Yeah, that's good. You got at least you can see the mountains in the off in the distance, so that's good. Chris, I pulled out two videos that I just began to look at, and one is a little older, and one is in today's, but it's about the electrical grid, about the shutting down or destruction of our grid, and how it affects America, and how your company, Sat123, could give us the tools to get through it. So I want to play one real quick. And this is, I mean, this guy's out of James Bond movie or maybe Austin Powers is the, well, we'll just watch this and check out his outfit, which is from Hollywood. It's unbelievable. If you can play this, Caleb.
Pay insufficient attention to the frightening scenario of a comprehensive cyber attack, which would bring to a complete halt to the power supply, transportation, hospital services, our society as a whole. The COVID-19 crisis would be seen in this respect as a small disturbance in comparison to a major cyber attack.
Chris, it's almost as if he's trying to warn us that this is coming, that you think COVID's bad. Wait till we come up with this. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, JJ, look, I mean, he's absolutely right. Unfortunately, we saw a clear demonstration of that in Spain and Portugal last week, where almost the entire grid was taken off in both countries. And that led to a complete freeze in all transactions, all financial transactions, all hospital services, and everything else. Air traffic control, everything was grounded. There's no stoplights working. Traffic lights are out. This causes chaos throughout a nation, and that's what these attacks are designed to do, JJ. And look, the Chinese, the Russians, the Iranians, whoever it is, have been working on this for years and have actively been working, according to multiple sources in the Pentagon, to pre-install malware into our networks, into our vital networks, including our utilities, defense, transportation, government, and so on, so that should there come to a conflict between the U.S. and China, in this case in Asia, then they would be able to activate these viruses, this malware, so that we are in complete chaos at home, and therefore cannot maybe either have the capacity to react to something going on in Asia or the political willpower to do it when we have such chaos at home. And so that's, look, it's very clear what they've been doing. It's very clear from what happened in Spain and Portugal that they have the capability to do this. And it's absolutely crazy to think that they haven't done this here in the US, and we are not the main subject of these potential attacks.
I want to play one more video, and it is from Fox News, and it's talking about the exact same thing. And when you begin to hear things start to pile up, I think it's a warning sign, right? Because when you look at all the catastrophes in the world, in America and specifically, it's almost like they do predictive programming. We're like, hey, get ready. Hey, get ready. So can you play this, Caleb, just this Fox News clip?
Post reveals hackers affiliated with China's People's Liberation Army have infiltrated critical services here in the U.S.
Alexandra Hoff joins us now from our nation's capital. Alex, this is not good.
No, it's not. I mean, this infiltration appears to be part of a broader effort to insert chaos into our logistical systems. The information collected could then be weaponized if the U.S. and China were to become engaged directly in the Pacific. According to reporting from the Washington Post citing multiple U.S. and industry security officials, China's cyber army is invading critical U.S. services, like an attempt to break into the system behind Texas's independent power grid. Other victims include a water utility in Hawaii, a West Coast port, and at least one oil and gas pipeline, according to that report you're seeing there. Brendan Wells, executive director of the Department of Homeland Security's cybersecurity agency, told the Washington Post this, quote, "It is very clear that Chinese attempts to compromise critical infrastructure are in part to pre-position themselves to be able to disrupt or destroy that critical infrastructure in the event of a conflict, to either prevent the United States from being able to project power into Asia or to cause societal chaos inside the United States to affect our decision-making around a crisis." The report notes that over the past year, hackers affiliated with the People's Liberation Army in China have accessed the computer systems of about 24 critical entities.
So this isn't, well, it might happen, or, you know, the probability is great. No, it is happening right now, Chris. They're hacking into all of our infrastructure, and it is going to be a day of reckoning if we're not prepared. Am I wrong on that?
No, you're 100% right, JJ. Look, the reality is the internet is over 50 years old. And look, if you take a 50-year-old car, right, everyone knows the problems with it. It's the same thing when it comes to cyber criminals and cyber terrorists, when it comes to our networks and how we manage our data and how we control our systems here. It's antiquated and outdated. And that's, you know, that's an issue for another day, maybe. But the reality is that these systems are vulnerable. Everything that we rely on here in the US is linked to power. Right. So if the grid goes down, everything could fail. And look, I'm not trying to be alarmist. I'm trying to be a realist. We as a nation and as individuals need to be prepared for this. And so there are three critical parts of that, JJ, as we see it. One is the ability to generate power by yourself, standalone, off the grid. And anyone who's got a second home or goes hunting or camping in the mountains or in the woods knows this. And, you know, they have solar powered generators on their homes because they understand that that's the only option that doesn't need to be, where you don't need to be constantly getting fuel or propane or whatever it is, and you can rely on the sun coming up. So solar powered generators that we have start from as little as a couple of $100 all the way up to a couple of thousand. But these things can power anything from your cell phone and laptop to your AC, and your lighting and everything else in your house, all of your appliances. The second part of that is independent satellite communications. And as you know, we offer the Starlink service. We're now offering not just the portable Starlink Gen 3 for free with activation, where you're paying just from $165 a month for 500 gigabytes. But we're offering the home installed unit as well with the hardware, so you can put this thing on your roof, and that's free with activation as well. And lastly is satellite phones. Satellite phones give you that guaranteed voice communication wherever you are. Grids down, doesn't matter. Your sat phone is going to work. You're going to be able to communicate with your family, your business, or whomever it is that you need to talk to. So if you have independent communication, voice communications, independent satellite, internet, and you have solar power generators, you're going to be in a lot better shape to maintain your home, your family, and your safety. Because look, what we saw that happened in Spain and Portugal lasted, for a couple of days. But a concerted attack from China or whomever could last for weeks or months or longer. And that's what we need to be ready for. And I know a lot of your audience is well aware of this, and they are prepared with extra ammunition, water, food supplies, and so on. But don't forget power, communications, and internet.
You're absolutely correct. And as we have talked before, this is not I wonder what's the probability of this happen. It's already happened. And our government is they block that information because they don't want us to be that fearful. They don't want that crazed feeling of, oh my gosh, they got into our water supply, they got into our internet, they got into a million other things. And it's all about being prepared, Chris. That's it. And your company does that at sat123.com. sat123.com. So I appreciate you coming on every week and talking about this. And you're not blackpilling. I'm not blackpilling. This is not alarmist. This is the reality, the world we live in now, right? Because everything is about connectability. It's about internet. It's almost as if, Chris, there's nothing to physically touch anymore. So we don't have control. Do you agree with that? Do you feel that way the same way I do? Like, you can't feel your money. When's the last time you used cash? Like, really, cash is rare, if ever.
Yeah, look, I mean, JJ, you're right. And it reminds me of the casinos where you trade real dollars, right, for these big round kind of fun looking chips that take away your connection to the money. So you don't mind throwing them on a craps table every couple of minutes and losing your mortgage payment, right? When you can't see it and you can't touch it, it does become less real. And then it's also easier to manipulate. And look, I mean, you log on to your bank account, right? And it says, oh, you've got this much in there. It's like, how do you know?
Yeah, you don't know. And I think that's the thing that we need to do. We need to have things we can physically touch and own and be prepared. And that's where your company comes in at sat123.com. Chris, thank you. I hope that it stays warm for you. We're heading to the summer months, which is exciting, especially in Colorado. So
yeah, it's going to be cooking here soon, JJ. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. We'll see you in a week. Thanks, Chris.
Look forward to it. Cheers.
Go to sat123.com/JJ, sat123.com/JJ. Get prepared. All right. We're going to go back to the insanity of, oh, my head's missing again. We're just switching over to a new system. Skype went away. We went to Zoom. Now we're going to Teams, and everything's changing. That's all right. We roll with it. We don't care. We roll with it. I want to go back, Caleb. I want to go back to the sitting in front of Congress and having to listen to the dumbest people in our society. And why this is personal too for me is because I did it. I sat in front of Congress. I looked at the people that I just played, Velasquez. And I'm going to show you a guy named Meeks. And I sat in front of these type of people. I sat in front of an illegal alien from Guatemala. That's a congresswoman from Illinois. I mean, it's unbelievable. Then I sat in front of a woman that was wearing those Tweety Bird glasses that you get at the state fair, but they were red. I sat in front of a woman that was wearing a leopard print outfit. I thought, there's no way she's a congresswoman. Yep, she's a congresswoman. Then I sat in front of a bunch of pacey old white men from the Republican side that had no idea what they were talking about, stumbling and stammering across. They haven't done a damn thing on child sex trafficking, and they're the committee that's oversees it. Unbelievable. Now you got this guy, the Treasury Secretary Bissett, sitting in front of Congress, and this man is so well prepared. He knows exactly what's going on. His boss he knows everything there is about economy, leverage, negotiations, and you got these morons questioning him. Let's play another moron. This is Meeks from New York, and don't think that Mr. Meeks doesn't have a profound impact on your life, because he surely does.
Does trade deficits constitute a national emergency?
The hollowing out of the U.S.
No, just yes or no.
Class,
yes or no. Yes or no.
It's a national emergency, sir.
It does. It does. You're telling me trade deficits equals a national or creates
persistent and prolonged.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And do you know also, sir, that for the last 4 decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency, because it hasn't been for 4 decades. It says to me that we should bring tariffs back to the United States Congress so that we can make that determination as the Constitution has said, and not try to go around Congress. That's just unbelievable to me. Let me
go around Congress. You're an idiot. Did you hear his reasoning why President Trump should not be involved in tariffs? Because for 40 years, we've been failing for 40 years and no one said anything. So let's just keep going back. You see the stupidity? I mean, what do you do? What do you do when you're in front of, I mean, do you argue with him, or you just shut down and just sit there and stare at him? We've been doing this for 40 years and been failing for 40 years. So let's keep doing that. Okay. Okay, Mr. Meeks. Okay. Thank you, sir. Let's go from Mr. Meeks to a woman named Miss, I think her Joyce is her first name, Beatty, Beatty. Listen to this intellectual gem.
Let me, it's my time. Let me go to my second question. The clock is running. It's my time. It is my time. You will not do this on my time. Now, I'm going to ask for a few more seconds since he refused to comply with my time, not his time. In 2016, former Secretary Jack Lew announced that Harriet Tubman was to be the new face of the $20 bill. Can you tell me what's the current status of this project?
No, ma'am, I can't, but my staff will get back to you.
No, I want you to get back to me, because see, there seems to be an issue when it comes to things that affect people of color or people who live in poverty, whether it is what you're doing with Social Security, what you are doing with restricting funds.
The gentlewoman's time is expired. The gentlewoman's time is expired. The gentleman from Texas. Mr.
Chairman, I need him to answer if he will. I'm not a staff person. I'm not asking him to have his staff report to me. So, Mr. Chairman, I'm addressing it to you to ask him to respect me. Mr. Chairman, I'm talking to you. I need him to address if he will answer me. No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to stop until you direct him to answer to me as a member of Congress.
The gentlewoman's time has expired. The gentlewoman has offered that she can submit questions for the record.
Point of order to you. I will not stop. I will not be silent.
The gentlewoman is not offering an appropriate parliamentary inquiry. Does the gentlewoman have a parliamentary inquiry?
Yes, I do.
Please state the parliamentary inquiry.
As a member of the United States Congress addressing the Secretary, I am asking you to rule on asking this hostile witness to direct his response to me versus having him tell me that his staff will respond to me. My staff person didn't ask them the question. I did.
The gentlewoman does not state a parliamentary inquiry.
So let me ask the point of privilege to you, Mr. Chairman, because I'm not going to stop this morning until you respond to me then, if you will direct the Secretary to respond to me as a member of Congress. Or let me ask
It is
him.
not a
Then
point of
let me
privilege. The
ask
gentlewoman's
him
time. The
if
gentlewoman's
he will
time has
respond
expired.
to
The
me.
gentlewoman
Will
will
he
suspend.
respond to me?
The gentlewoman will.
respond
The gentlewoman will
that
suspend.
he-
The gentlewoman
It can
will
be simple
suspend.
if he
The
responds.
gentlewoman will
If
suspend.
he responds
The gentlewoman
to me,
will suspend.
if he will
The
respond,
gentlewoman makes a legitimate request. A personal
you
privilege.
can simply ask him to
Grant
respond.
Personal privilege.
Just
Personal
ask him to
privilege.
respond if he'll respond to a member of Congress versus saying a staffer. It's simple as that.
I ask that members keep decorum and remain cordial during today's hearing.
I am being
members,
cordial
the
to you,
gentlewoman will
Mr.
suspend.
Chairman.
The chair has the time.
Mr. Chairman,
the
will you
chair has the
answer the
time. The
question?
gentlewoman will suspend.
The gentlewoman
the
makes
gentlewoman
a
will
legitimate
suspend.
request.
I ask that members keep decorum and remain cordial during today's
being
hearing.
cordial. I resent your statement to imply that I am not. I am a member of the U.S. Congress. I am asking this
The
secretary
gentlewoman
to
may
respond
submit
to me.
QFRs for the record, which will be responded to by the secretary.
Thank you.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
What's wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you people? I played that whole clip. It's mind-numbing. But I played it because I need and I want my audience to understand the absolute stupidity that is ruling our country. I want you to feel the pain I felt when I was in front of Congress. I want you to feel the pain that Secretary Brissett is had to endure. The absolute stupidity of these people. And as I watch it over and over and over again, do you know the first thing that always pops into my brain is what our founding fathers would think? Those intellectual giants that were having incredible intellectual discussions, nuanced, down in the weeds, kind of how are we going to build this government? They would have been shocked at the level of intellect or the lack of level of intellect that is now in the halls of Congress. The dumbest people in our society are ruling over us. Here's another dummy, Miss Presley. Caleb, it's from 3:30 to 4:05. I can only take about 35 seconds of this Nimrod and her arrogance. That's the killer, the icing on the cake. Go ahead and play this, please.
You support an exemption to tariffs on items that parents need to care for their kids. Yes or no?
Congresswoman, what you're referring to are
Yes or no?
what you're referring to are
I'm reclaiming my time because I don't want you to filibuster and give me some macroeconomic answer. Families at home are hurting, and so just give me a direct answer.
I am going to agree with you that
So yes, you do support an exemption on tariffs for products that are essential for families for their babies.
Exemptions on E4 items, which
I'm sorry, I have to reclaim my time. I'm reclaiming my time. I am, Mr.
are
Chair, I am reclaiming my time.
Let her reclaim her time. We need to hear as much from these people as possible to absolutely understand the level of stupidity. And we wonder like from Mr. Meeks from New York, that we've been doing this for 40 years. Why would we change now? We're $36 trillion in debt, you moron. How do you think we got there? Caleb, I'm not going to show this last clip, because I just can't tolerate these idiots anymore. So I want to go from a group of morons to a group of absolute immoral people. And I want you to see that these people that are in the houses of Congress have destroyed our nation from the inside out. And I'm going to show you a clip right now about a trans camp for children. And now you get a full circle picture of what's wrong with America today.
Applications are open for Brave Trails 2025. Whether you're new or returning, get ready for an unforgettable summer in California, New York, or Georgia.
Hey, Caleb, I'm going to go right to
Trails
the Planned
is
Parenthood
the summer
summer, okay?
for LGBTQ plus youth ages 12 to 17. With creative programming, gender-neutral housing, and affirming spaces to be your true self. This isn't just a camp, it's a community-led leadership experience. Dive into passion projects, build new skills, and make lifelong friends. At Brave Trails, we believe every LGBTQ plus young person deserves access to community, which is why we provide over $100,000 worth of financial aid each year. We're also looking for incredible staff to join our unicorn crew. If you are ready to inspire and support LGBTQ plus youth, this is your chance. Spots are filling up fast, so apply now to secure your place and join the Brave Trails family, where the magic of camp meets the power of community.
How does that make you feel going into the weekend? I got another video for you just to show you how far we've gone down. It's Planned Parenthood. Young woman calling in as she's 16 to see how she can get around her parents being involved for gender change and taking testosterone. Caleb, can you please just play a minute and about 15 seconds of this?
Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood. Thank you for choosing Planned Parenthood, Greater New York.
Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for calling Planned Parenthood.
Hi, my name's Sophia. I'm just trying to schedule some gender-affirming care. I really just want to be able to get some testosterone to start my journey.
So we just have to start by booking your initial appointment so you can come in to see one of our providers. Are you over 18?
No, I'm 16.
You're good to be seen here then, 16 and older. Perfect.
Okay, good. You're okay to do it for minors?
Yes, you can legally get hormones under 18. How old are you?
16. I know my mom has to come in with me. Does she have to be in there the whole time? Like, how does that work? Because I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
At some point in the appointment, maybe she doesn't have to be in the examining room with you.
You said I could do it virtually?
Yeah, you could do it virtually.
So what would that look like? So I just talk to a doctor and then they'd be able to prescribe me?
Yeah, if it's virtual, you'll still meet with the doctor and then go over like all necessary information. At the end, they will then be prescribing hormones that would then be scripted out.
We started this episode out, who's in charge? Wasn't Joe Biden. It's definitely not those morons that we listen to try to grill Secretary Bessent. We have evil in charge of our world. I could have shown you video after video after video of transgendering children, the attack of children. We are in a full-on frontal war for the soul of America, and we are being attacked from every angle. You need to be prepared, and you need to be ready to fight. All of us fight for our country.
You're watching Worldview 2, built on the 35 years of Worldview books, documentaries, research, high-profile interviews, and the radio and television broadcasts of Brannon House.